everybody. I'm Bob Marone along with Joe Logano. We are live at the Knollwood Country Club here in Elmsford, New York for the third annual Honickman Companies Golf Invitational. We're produced by Shaw Creative and made possible by Hightower Westchester and Robeson. And my first guest is apropos of why we're here today. The Honickman Companies runs this particular event to benefit the Volunteers of America, Greater New York, and we're proud to have with us Gerald Cunningham, and that's the way he likes it pronounced, just got back from the UK. He is the chairman of the board. Good afternoon, sir.
How are you doing?
Very well indeed. It's always nice to come out here to this beautiful place and do this particular broadcast, and as well, it helps the homeless and so many other people. Now, how long have you been involved with Volunteers of America, Greater New York?
I joined the Volunteers of America Greater New York board about 15 years ago.
Oh, just a couple of weeks ago. You've been at this a while.
Right, a few weeks.
Now, you moved up to chairman. How long have you been chairman of the board?
About 5 years.
Okay, tell us about what your organization does, and then we'll get back into a little bit about yourself. But tell us about the organization and how this event today will benefit them.
So Volunteers of America Greater New York is one of the larger nonprofits in New York dealing with those in greatest need. So our clients are about 11,000 people who at one point in time were homeless. And we provide housing, health services, and other related services, so financial planning to help people get back on their feet. So there are about 11,000 people that we serve in the Greater New York area that at one point in time were homeless or at risk of becoming homeless.
Wow. And I take it you work with a lot of other organizations, referrals back and forth and so forth?
Right. We work a lot with New York City and New York State. We are, and to an extent, the federal government. We are the largest houser of formerly homeless veterans in New York City, as an example. So we're dealing with the VA. That's
very important, and with what's gone on with our veterans. I would imagine that is a part of your process that is growing.
Yes. Well, I mean, veterans, we normally have to go look for the veterans because they don't necessarily know where to go for help. But with the influx of immigrants lately, that the number of people who are in the Greater New York area who are in need of help has grown, and we're trying to be dealing with them on an ongoing basis. We're doing some innovative things with the city around trying to get currently homeless people off the streets into shelters and get them back on their feet. And our objective is not to just provide them temporary housing or emergency housing, but it is to figure out what caused their homelessness and help them deal with that. So all of our facilities have counselors and others who help them figure out what's really going on and get them back on their feet.
And I'm sure it's the whole panoply from people who've had financial disaster, mental illness, drugs, and so forth. You're a busy person then, or your organization are busy. Yeah, those people.
The 1,200 people that we have working for us, and our name is a bit of a misnomer because Volunteers of America. I mean, 125 years ago when our organization started, it was staffed by volunteers. But we do have volunteers who work with us all the time. But we do have 1,200 or so people who every day get up and take care of and try and help the people that we're talking about, our clients, the homeless. And during the pandemic, that was a particular challenge, right?
Oh, they were sort of off the streets, but still out there. How did you manage that?
A lot of dedicated people and a lot of work. So we had to make sure that we isolated those who might have symptoms and keep everybody healthy at the same time that we're dealing with the challenges that they have that have been in place for a while. So it was a lot of our folks didn't go home. They stayed. They covered shifts that others were supposed to cover but couldn't. And it was an interesting couple of years.
I'm always interested. I knew from our original conversation that you were a principal at one time with Deloitte. It's always busy people that get involved with these kinds of things. Now, this is all volunteer work for you, obviously. What drove you to them after a successful career?
My parents were teenagers in the Depression. My father was in the Army during World War II. My mother was in the Navy. And they just instilled a passion of looking after everybody else because people looked after them. So I think we have 16, 17 board members, and you'll find that everybody has a passion for trying to help those in need, and our clients tend to be the ones in greatest need.
Well, obviously, they're lucky to have you. Is there anything you'd like to say, Mr. Cunningham, again, the chairman of Volunteers of America, Greater New York? Anything you'd like to say in terms of asking people to donate or participate? Anything you'd like to add before we go?
Sure, we'll never turn down help. So our website is voagny.org. And one of the programs that we run around this time every year, it just finished up a school start, is called Operation Backpack. And there are roughly 15,000 school-aged children in the greater New York area that live in homeless shelters. So our objective is to raise the millions needed to give them new backpacks with all the great appropriate school supplies before they go back to school, so they end up with the tools they need to be successful, but also a little bit more dignity when they return, and they look more like the children than the rest of the children in the classroom.
Wow.
And all of our programs can be supported financially. So if people have a desire to help us, just like the Hahnemann Company, who has been a stalwart supporter of ours for years, the third year in this golf tournament, and their president and COO, Reginald Goins, and his family have been exceptionally helpful. Reginald's one of our board members, but they have been very gracious and very generous. So anybody at the corporate level is plenty of ways to support us, and at a personal level, the same is true. Just go to our website.
Well, thank you very, very much for your time, and it has been an honor to spend time with you. Continued success.
Thank you so much. Pleasure meeting you as well.
Thank you much. We'll be right back after this.